spend several hours there studying, because I study during the week, but I always take the Bakersfield Californian with me to the office, and I read the church pages. I read the obituaries first, and I read the church pages. There's a advertisement, and they have 2 or 3 pages of advertisement that kind of become blurred when you look at all of it. It's just, but this one stood out. Said, believe in God but disillusioned with church. We miss you and are thinking of you. Join us for an informal evenings of conversation. No subject is taboo. We're here to listen. Fridays beginning March 2nd at 7 p.m. St. Philip the Apostle Catholic Church, Fireside Room, 7100 Stockdale Highway, Bakersfield, California. Father Craig is probably one of the most popular priests, Roman Catholic priests in Kern County. Very articulate individual. I've heard him on a few occasions at primarily funerals. Very articulate, and he wants to know how many people that believe in God but are disillusioned with church. A lot of people are, because they are looking for an excuse of telling God, if it hadn't have been for Eve, would have still been in the garden. But there's not an excuse that we're going to be able to give to him for neglecting so great a salvation. Very interesting article. Evangelist out of the prophecy game. Got the picture in there with him. Radio evangelist Harold Campling has called his erroneous prediction that the world would end last May the 21st an incorrect and sinful statement. If you remember, I said that prior to that. And said his ministry is out of the prediction business. We have learned a very painful lesson that all of creation is in God's hands, and he will end time in the time, not ours. Read the statement signed by Campling and his staff and posted on his ministry's website. We humbly recognize that God may not tell his people the date when Christ will return any more than he tells anyone the date that they will die physically. The March of 2012 letter, which included multiple media clips, was released with a note from the Board of California-based Family Radio. The group intended to mail it to listeners first, but immediately posted it to avoid confusion after it was leaked online. Campbell said people have continued to wish for another prediction, but he is now convinced that critics were correct about the biblical admonition that of that day and hour knoweth no man. We must also openly acknowledge that we have no new evidence pointing to another date for the end of the world, he wrote. Though many dates are circulating, Family Radio has no interest in even considering another date. The letter makes no reference to Campling's explanation last year that he had miscalculated by 5 months the world would instead end on October the 21st, 2011. The dual prediction landed Campling in number 7 spot of the Religious News Writers Association's list of the top 10 religious stories of 2012. and 11. It was number 7 of the top 10 religious stories. The world was going to come to an end. Erroneous on several different occasions. Wasn't the first time that he had made erroneous predictions. He raised it over $150 million a year on 180 some odd different radio stations. And it's amazing how that even whenever he admitted that he was wrong, people said, find us another date, predict another date, give us some of the same that we already had, even though it's erroneous. I was asked this week, does anybody else believe the way that you do? And the answer was, I don't know. We're no two of us alike. Proverbs, the 23rd chapter, the 17th and the 18th verse. Proverbs, the 23rd chapter, the 17th and the 18th verse. I'm going to give you time to find it. Right after the Psalm. The Psalms are the songs. Let not thine heart envy sinners, but be thou in the fear of the Lord all the day long. Let not thine heart envy sinners, but be thou in the fear of the Lord all of the day long. For surely there is an end, and thine expectation shall not be cut off. Listen to what Solomon is declaring. Don't envy the wicked, their accumulation of wealth and glory. For surely there is an end. There is an end time. But thy expectation shall not be cut off. This week, the scientists and the astrologers, the people in the electronic business were concerned about a firestorm emanating from the sun. Over 100 years ago, there was a firestorm that emanated from the sun that caused 28 different fires, including the great fire in Chicago that Miss Leary's cow didn't kick over a lantern. There was 28 cities simultaneously that were on fire. That's history. From the firestorm from the sun. I don't know whether you saw it or not. They had it on television. It was an enormous thing. That if we can only comprehend the creation of God, and the sun exploded, and they were fearful that it was going to be greater on Thursday, but it actually was greater 24 hours later. It even threw AT&T out and made it more difficult to get a line, as if there was something new there. But the earth was protected from the firestorm. That had the earth not been in a shield around the earth, it would have been immediately destroyed by flames of fire. Surely there's an end, and thy expectation shall not be cut off. Thy hope shall not be cut off. Let's know what the 37th Psalms in the first 9 verses declare. Anyone else believe like you do? I don't know. Listen to what